We're going to see what's happening for the moment. But the true answer is that we know already the answer is almost everywhere. Why? Because we are, I suppose that we are only in certain concerns, and we are almost everywhere, let's say. Meaning that what needs to be understood for the moment. So the answer is very much like all the others. So could you imagine out of 20 people, how we can manage people and how all this can be done? So I believe there are several people in this way who are working in this way. And that's what all this is about for the moment. So this is what you can see almost everywhere. We are going to show you what's happening in Quebec for the moment, downtown. And therefore, there are about 50 nations, as you can see, probably. So here in Quebec, things seems to be slightly different, and even more communications are being carried out in this way. So now, as far as Quebec is concerned now, it's less, let's say, whenever we talk about that, we can say that it's slightly less than this number. So let's say that there are about 40 individuals so far, which are showing us this type of figures. So what you can see on yellow right now, so people are on this area. So this is what you can see in this color, in the orange color. So it is this type of community that you can see at this level. Oh, apologies. That is what I wanted to show you for the moment. I'm afraid the sound is no good. I've asked the speaker if they could raise the voice so you can see. I would not say that it's with all the nations, but notably, this is what you can see at this level, whatever is happening in Quebec for the moment. Now, so this is what you can see here, Montreal, isn't it? So this is close to the different community that you can see here, the different community here in Quebec, the Quebec, Ontario. So these are the 14 villages that you can see on this map so far. Now we're going to talk about a legend. Why? Because in the past, there was no handwritten as such. So from generation to generation, people started to learn this. So there are certain things that people were not writing in the same manner, as you can see. Likewise with the language as well. So we were not writing it in the same way again, but nevertheless, there were other types of transcriptions that this is going to be towards the end. No interruption, please. The people were talking in a different manner, and the handwriting was totally different, as I had stated earlier on. Likewise, also, the life was adapted to the way of life, meaning people were talking by the map sometimes, or else. So that's it. Now, sometimes you could hear also the oral speech and how people were speaking also orally and how things seems to be important. So people might be speaking about the schools sometimes. Teaching was being carried out in a different manner, as I said earlier on. So that is a legend talking about the birds. And he used to be the king of the birds. So we are going to go right away and watch it. So thousands of years ago, the birds were found to talk about topic and they needed to choose a royal representative. They brought, so you will introduce yourself and you will see whether you could be our representative or not. That is what the project had stated. The very first bird who introduced himself kind of I'm rather smart, but he was interrupted. This is your issue. You are very smart. To this opportunity, you can kind of move on. The other kind of did agree, and then move on to another candidate. The second bird introduced himself, and it was a different type of bird. I'm very noble, and I'm very just as well. Now, the other, but you leave at night whether we need a candidate who would be available all time, meaning and the other one got closer to them together, being wise and also noble and very fair. All of them had talked together in order to choose who is going to be their royal representative. And all of a sudden, they heard a very sound cry. So I do deserve more than the others this type of precisions. It was the eagle who set himself on a very high type of a tree. Also so noble, fair as well as wise. So the cardinal had taken a decision. So we need to put them to the four of them kind of talked in private in order to take a decision. So the bird who would go higher and would go down without falling would be there again. Our representative, the cardinal, set off the signal. So both of them started to fly so high that you could no longer see but points through the clouds. All of a sudden, one of them started to fall down, and none bird would find out who it was unless the horses got closer enough so that they would be able to recognize him. So he fall the middle of the so however the eagle, he came down with no problem and kind of settled on the highest tree of the forest. But all of a sudden they heard a kind of a sound from the lake, and it was a huge sound who was there. So his feathers were all spread. Indeed, this is how that they use it. Become the representative, the royal representative of the king. And the eagle, he proclaimed the messages since he was the only one who managed to go as far as the sky. So the creator had made his own choice even in that time. All the users happened to have this symbol of acknowledgement indeed. So that's it. You have seen an example and how the bird had become the king of the birds. It was a noun. We needed to do that in order to explain. This is extremely important to see that all the different components, whether it's water, the plants, as well as the feathers, no matter, all type of components were very important. And everything seems to be in relations. So this is why that one needs to take care of the environment as well as the nature itself. Otherwise, this is going to impact the whole environment. And, and, and this is why also that we need to take care of the nature and of the environment. Now we are going to move on to a next one and talk about something else. You are kindly invited then to watch this. Again, the sound is very poor and the interpreter apologizes. And that's it. So it was a traditional female. So she had talked towards the end. What I can see is what you have seen right now. It was at the very beginning. So it is as if nature was healing with the different sounds as well as with the dance. Is this type of practice, this type of dancing you can heal. But so this is how I would interpret it myself. So now we may move on to the next film. But let's talk about it first. Could you tell me about certain objects, for example? Yes, the fact of having the floor, people are speaking. Yes. Yes, of course. Yes, indeed. This is what we usually do. This is not exactly how it happened, but the very last one who had wanted to talk now. Yes, please go ahead. Yes, there are plenty of people who are talking about this type of indigenous. We can take the example of the canon as well as how we can walk with this type of sticks, as well as the drummer. It has already been listed, and the type of yes, this is exactly. But there are plenty of elements that we can talk about. Of course, there are other elements which are very large, very much like the necklace which I'm wearing for the moment. So it could be in leather. So plenty of things that are related to that, aren't they? Yes, we can make some comments later on. Indeed, you need to get adapted according to the territory. Of course, everything is reflected so that it be functional on the territory. So everything that they did have. Now the image itself, they have developed something which seems to be how we could need some baskets. So it's a very good type of experience indeed. Why? Because the wood is the only material that can be needed and required. So it can be painted. It, so there are different variety of woods that we can make use. So there are two types of baskets that you can ornament, you can decorate, and there are also some baskets that you can make use to for work. So in the next film, you are going to see Stefan Jerome, who is very much attracted and interested by this type of working basket, and is going through the different steps with respect to this type of basket. So you are going to see these long procedures related to that. So My Father's Tools is the title of this film. The Tools of My Father. My Father's Tools, let's say. This is perfect. You have seen something, the type of know-how, the type of knowledge, and you have noticed all the different steps is rather lengthy, isn't it, to go through, as well as the knowledge. What seems to impress me is at the very beginning how he has selected, chosen the tree. All right, and he say, yes, so far this is what is needed. So it is quite a lengthy procedures, as you could see. You may imagine how long it takes him, and then after that, now he's transferring this type of knowledge. So less and less people know how to do these type of procedures. That's it. And then following that, I don't know whether we have time for the last film or not. Do we have enough time? Not sure. I don't know whether we have enough time or not to watch the last film. Yes, let's move on. That's perfect. Now I would like to talk very rapidly about the film, introduce it with respect to the tobacco. So it so it had started with Europeans at that time, the plantation, but it is not very much as things are taking place nowadays. We used to have several plants in the past. So we used to make use of the plants for different reasons, to eat the plants as well as for spiritual reasons as well. This is how they used to be made, these type of plants. Not necessarily to smoke, but they were used for several reasons, used for healing and others. Right. So this is what happened. It's a type of plants which is regarded as a sacred. So it's a cucumber who is talking about this type of plants. It was created mainly because it was not to be smoked, mainly because this is no good, but it was mainly for specific reasons. So it's called, for those who know how to pronounce it, is chechemau tobacco. So Jessica Valong had made this film and had made the assembly. So let's watch it together and see what it's all about. I found those cigarettes. Right? Where did you find them? Over there on the floor. So tobacco, and this is what we use to be in communication with the big spirit. Eva, did you know, for example, how we could do it? Yes, in heaven. Listen, you need to pronounce it this way. Miss Kim Hamawa. You talk with the big spirit, the great spirit. So you take the tobacco, the side of your heart, first of all, and then you can lit the fire, and then the smoke would go. It means that our praise would go up with him. This is our way to make this prayer with the tobacco, would be to put in the land all the animals which are surrounding us are going to share our prayer. And here, even if my family is far away, when I'm making this type of prayer, they are going to feel in it. And there is another way also to make use of this tobacco. You can put it also in water and you can follow it at the river, and then it goes into, and it would go to the oceans, and you can make use of this. So it's the land, water, and the fire. And so we can make use of these elements. If someone had helped you and done something really good to you, you can thank him by giving him this type of tobacco. And then again, it has been manufactured in this way, and you can also give him it in this way, and he would feel your prayer. You are going to do it in terms of acknowledgement. It's better than smoking it. It's better to make use of it in this way rather than smoking. So children don't smoke. And we adults, whenever we smoke, we do not inhale in our lungs. We just leave type of the smoke in our mouth, and the prayer would go everywhere in your own body. So tobacco is sacred, and this is how we make use of it. It is sacred because we suppose that we need to respect tobacco. We must respect tobacco. And me, I do not smoke cigarettes because I do respect the plant. Think about what I have taught you. Think again about what I have taught you. So that's it. You have seen why tobacco needs to be respected in the inner, so that it won't be harmful to you. You know, the tobacco has been used in a different manner, as you can see. So have you got any questions with respect to what we have just watched right now? Anyone would like to ask a question, or there is any need for further clarification? So the question is with respect to the bird. So that's the question that you wanted to ask, didn't you? Is there any question that side? Microphone, please. You need to give the microphone to the children. We cannot hear the questions being asked because they're not making use of a microphone. So it was related to the handwriting. So there was different manners to transmit certain things. And at that time, sometimes, so they were transmitted orally. So it was by reiterating, repeating things, and people knew by looking at something sometimes and transferring this. So there was a transfer of knowledge which were transmitted from one person to another, from one individual to another, from one generation to another. So very much like in the forest. Yeah, I could imagine that it can very much sound like something, but I do understand that, of course, we did not hear the questions being asked by the child because he was not using a microphone. And so that all questions related to that. Do you have any questions? Any? No? Any other questions? Yes, please go ahead. We cannot hear the question being asked, I'm afraid. They're not using the microphone. So why people are smoking cigarette nowadays? Whereas in the past it used to be sacred. There are several things that that the colons have changed and have processed, but in the so cigarettes is now good, of course, but that's another topic. Of course, things have changed. So they have produced it for the ceremony. It can be given as a gift, for example. It should not be smoked the way it is being smoked nowadays. Any other questions? Do we still have time? No? Otherwise, the traditional healing, you remember that film, that lady who was dancing in the forest? So could you, so what did it mean to you so far? So what you have seen in this film is that she was sad when she was seeing this type of water, and then she started dancing, and nature all of a sudden had come back to. Yes, so what about you? Yeah, the message would be to stop pollution. Yes, indeed. Yes, that's the message which is being conveyed. Stop polluting nature. We cannot hear the speaker. We cannot hear the girl asking her questions, or the boy. It is true indeed. It is it is her dancing outfit, as you could see. So very colorful. It's very much as if the colors of the Galia were widespread in the nature. So it's something to be known for the traditional outfits. So a type of costume that need to be worn. So we call it regalia. It's not a costume. It's not something that you wear as an outfit during Halloween. It's something which is very important that you get and that you wear with lots of proud as well. No, maybe some of you have more questions other than no. So otherwise, so it's done. Okay, all right. Could you have we watched it together? So I'm going to show you something, but I'm sure that you are going to like it. Chi like Tai Chi, and then niche as a niche, and then neck, chinish kamitin, chinish kamitin, and chinish kamitin now. Thank you, but in the plural. several manners, several ways to say thank you. Chiminish Chin, Reliant, Merci, Nakromik, Wapikoni,